Can you afford to own a home? Well, let's take a look. I live in Texas. So based on the internet, can I afford to own a home in Texas? What does it take for me to earn a living and be considered a homeowner in the state of Texas? Let's take a look at what the internet has to say. I found 4 very helpful pieces of information to help me figure out if I can afford to live in Texas. Number 1, the average salary by age. Number 2, the average income by state. Number 3, 9 spending/budgeting categories. And number 4, the recommended percentage of income to spend per category. I will provide the links to the websites so that you can assess where you fall based on this information. To keep this video as short and simple as possible, I will claim to be a 40-year-old Texan. This may or may not be 100% accurate, but this is the information that I am using to assess whether or not I can afford to live in Texas. The first helpful piece of information I found was the average salary by age in the U.S. from Average Income by Age plus Medium, Top 1%, and All Income Percentiles, written by DQYDJ. As a 40-year-old, in order to afford to live in the U.S. like an average American, I should be earning $73,704.70. Here, I also list the average salaries for 25-year-olds, 35, 45, 55, and 65. The site lists salaries by age from 18 to 75. So if you don't see your age listed here, definitely check out the link provided in the description below. The second helpful piece of information I found was average income by state from the worldpopulationreview.com. The average Texan earns a salary of $87,260. This is much higher than the U.S. average. Unfortunately, it's much too far from my reality. If I compare my actual salary to the average Texan salary listed here, I cannot afford to live in Texas. So the link to this site is provided in the description so you can look at the average salary based on your state. Can you afford to live in your state based on this information? Let me know in the comments below. Here is a great graphic I found on the Average Income by State 2021 by the worldpopulationreview.com, as well as a wonderful line in their article that ties in my entire channel. So a state's educational attainment levels have a significant impact on average income. The third piece of helpful information I found on the internet are the 9 spending categories and what percent of your salary should be spent on each category. Here are those 9 spending categories at the low end of the recommended percentages. Here are those same 9 spending categories, but on the high end percentages recommended by the internet. These are the 9 average spending categories and the basic budget percentages that I found on the internet. Your expenses may fall between these percentages for these 9 categories, or they may not. We are using conservative averages for this video to determine if I can afford to live in Texas. You can use the same resources to review how the average person that is your age and lives in your state can afford to live in your state based on these basic budget percentages. This information may be used as a benchmark to orient your current financial situation. This is a graphic with the same basic budget categories using national average percentages. You can use this as a benchmark to see how you stack up against everybody across the U.S. and not just your state. The focus of this video is budgeting according to the recommended categories/percentages at the minimum salary to own a home. Can I afford to live in Texas? Why? Because I own a home and I'm basing this example as closely as possible to what I want or to what I am experiencing. You can visit all the links provided in the description below to check out the lowest salary you will need to own a home in your state. But as a Texan, if I want to own a home, I need to earn a salary between $60,000 and $79,000. Money.com breaks down the salary needed by state to be a homeowner, and it also assumes the following 3 things: that you're putting 10% down towards the purchase of your home, that you're getting an interest rate of 4.8% towards your mortgage, and that you're spending 30% of your salary towards housing expenses. Okay, if I earn $60,000 and spend it according to the categories at the lower percentages recommended by the internet, this is what my numbers would look like. My If I earn $60,000 and spend it according to the categories and lower percentages recommended by the internet, this is what my numbers would look like. At this level, I can afford to live in Texas. If I earn $60,000 and spend it according to the categories and the higher percentages recommended by the internet for each category, this is what my numbers would look like. I cannot afford to live in Texas at this salary with these expenses. If I want to account for 100% of my $60,000 salary, I can bump up savings and housing to the higher end of the percentages. I would leave all other percentages at the lower recommended level. And this is what my money budgeted at 100% would look like. You can budget the percentages based on your preferences. But realistically, is this a realistic budget? Let's take a look. Surprise! If I earn $60,000, I do not have $60,000 to spend or budget as I will. The federal government, and in some states, the state government, will tax your salary. As a Texan, I only have to pay federal taxes. Let's take a look at what that looks like. The federal government is going to take 18% of my $60,000 to the tune of $10,778, leaving me with $49,222 to take home to spend and budget however I want to. But in this video, we're going to use those 9 categories with conservative percentages. That's it, right? My salary just dropped by 10K, but now I have the dollar amount an average Texas homeowner has to spend on housing and all the other categories based on the internet's recommendations, right? Nope. What about my work benefits? Where do I account for them? This includes medical, commuting, retirement, and in some cases, there are some additional tax deductible benefits that are offered by your employer. But these are the most basic tax deductible benefits an employer may offer that are used by Americans, especially in Texas, on average. Here are the average pre-tax deductible benefits I can pay for before taxes are taken off my salary. The IRS allows employers to reduce your salary by these benefits before taxes are assessed. The deductions are available in dollar amounts and vary from person to person or salary to salary. The IRS does cap the amounts. The parking and commuting amount listed are the capped amounts. The remaining amounts are averages I found online. Percentages are listed to put them in perspective with the recommended budget percentages and categories. So, if my salary is $60,000, like the average Texas homeowner, my actual spending money to budget is $46,334, commonly referred to as take-home pay. If I have additional deductions my employer is willing to provide, I would subtract them from this take-home pay, and these would be called after-tax deductions, and they would fall into the different categories of spending that we've previously covered. Let's put my take-home pay of $46,344 of my $60,000 salary into the 9 categories and percentages recommended by the internet. These are my numbers. Yes, I can afford to live in Texas with this budget. Can you afford to live in your state? How does your salary compare to the U.S. average salary? What is the minimum salary you need to earn to live in your state? Click on the links provided in the description to see where you stand. Create your own video and link it in the comments. Well, it looks like I can afford to live in Texas, but did you notice the budget spending categories all my take-home pay? This is a one-income household with no children and no debt. Does that mean I don't have student loans, credit card debt, any type of debt? What percentage does the internet recommend to budget for debt? How does this fall into these spending categories? Check out my other video, Can You Afford to Live with Debt? Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, have a great one. Bye.